The broadcast reached Earth at 0600 hours, Universal Standard Time. Every screen, every feed, every terminal across human-controlled space lit up with the same image. The Galactic Council chamber. Marble floors polished to mirrors. Pillars carved from stone that predated human civilization by millennia. And at the center, kneeling in restraints, were 6 humans in diplomatic uniforms. Ambassador Chinwei spoke first. Her voice was calm even through the bruises on her face. She did not beg. She did not plead. She simply looked into the camera and said, "We came in peace. Remember that." The executioner was a Drathan, tall and scaled, with eyes like black glass. He raised his weapon without ceremony. The council representative, a towering figure draped in ceremonial robes, addressed the camera directly. "Let this serve as clarity," the representative said. "Humanity has petitioned for council membership 17 times. 17 times you have been denied. You do not understand your place. You expand too quickly. You negotiate too boldly. You demand what you have not earned. This is the consequence of overreach." The weapon fired 6 times. Clean, efficient, final. The broadcast ended. Across Earth there was silence. Not the silence of shock. The silence of something deeper. Something older. The kind of silence that came before storms. In Geneva, the emergency session of the United Earth Assembly convened within the hour. No one shouted. No one wept. They simply watched the footage again. And again. Secretary General Amara Okonkwo sat at the head of the table, her hands folded, her expression unreadable. "Recommendations," she said quietly. The military advisors spoke first. Retaliatory strikes. Immediate mobilization. Show of force. The economists followed. Sanctions. Trade embargoes. Diplomatic isolation. The scientists offered data. Fleet projections. Resource allocations. Probability models. Okonkwo listened to all of it. Then she raised one hand and the room fell silent. "They wanted us to react," she said. "They wanted rage. They wanted threats. They wanted us to prove we are exactly what they believe we are. Impulsive. Emotional. Dangerous." She stood slowly, her eyes moving across every face in the room. "We will give them none of that." The room stirred. Confusion flickered across faces. One admiral leaned forward. "Madam Secretary, with respect, we cannot let this stand. If we do nothing, we look weak." "We will not do nothing," Okonkwo said. "But we will not do what they expect." She turned to the display screen, where the frozen image of the Drathan executioner still lingered. "They think they have sent a message. They have. Just not the one they intended." Over the next 72 hours, something extraordinary happened. Humanity did not broadcast threats. Did not issue demands. Did not even send a formal response to the Galactic Council. Instead, every human colony, every station, every outpost went silent on all public channels. Trade routes continued. Supply lines ran. Ships moved. But no human government made a statement. No human spokesperson appeared on galactic networks. The silence was total. Deliberate. Unsettling. The council noticed. At first they dismissed it. Shock they assumed. Grief. Fear. Let the humans sulk. Let them process their lesson. But as days turned into weeks, the silence deepened. And beneath it, something else began to stir. Human mining operations doubled their output. Refineries ran at maximum capacity. Shipyards that had been building commercial vessels quietly shifted to military production. Defense platforms appeared around colony worlds that had never needed them before. Research stations that once published their findings openly went dark. And still humanity said nothing. On the fringes of council space, a Karathi merchant captain named Velis reported something strange. He had been transporting luxury goods through a human trade corridor when his sensors picked up an anomaly. A fleet. Not a patrol. Not an escort. A fleet. 30 ships, maybe more, moving in perfect formation through the outer reaches of the Sol system. He filed the report and forgot about it. Until 3 weeks later, when another captain reported the same thing. Different sector. Different fleet. Same silence. The council convened again. This time the mood was different. The Drathan representative who had overseen the execution stood before the assembly, his posture rigid. "The humans are mobilizing," he said. "We have confirmation of fleet movements, resource stockpiling and communication blackouts across all their territories." The council head, an ancient Telasian whose species had ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years, leaned forward. "Do they prepare for war?" "Unknown," the Drathan replied. They have made no declarations, issued no warnings. They simply build. A Karathi counselor spoke up, her voice sharp. Then we crush them now before they become a threat. Crush them with what? Another voice interjected. It was a Vietnamese diplomat, small and gray-skinned, with eyes that saw too much. They control 42 star systems. They have a population of 18 billion. They have resources we cannot match and a manufacturing base that rivals the entire Outer Rim combined. And they have done all of this in less than 3 centuries. The Talasian's eyes narrowed. What are you saying? The Vietnamese leaned back. I am saying that we executed their diplomats to teach them humility. Instead, we may have taught them resolve. The chamber fell silent. And somewhere, in the cold reaches of space, another human fleet began to move. The first sign that something had changed came from the border zones. A Karathi patrol fleet, 3 cruisers and a destroyer, was conducting routine sweeps near the human claim system of New Havana. They detected a vessel on their sensors. Human design. Alone. Unarmed, according to scans. The Karathi commander, a veteran named Thrask, ordered the ship to halt for inspection. Standard procedure. The humans had been quiet for weeks, but they were still bound by council regulations. Or so he believed. The human ship stopped. Its engines powered down. A single transmission came through. This is Captain Langford of the UES Messenger. We are a diplomatic courier. We carry no weapons. We request safe passage under interstellar law. Thrask felt something twist in his gut. Diplomatic courier. After what the council had done to their last diplomats, the humans were sending another one. He should have let the ship pass. Instead, he ordered his crew to board it. The messenger did not resist. Its crew of 4 stood calmly in the cargo bay as Karathi soldiers searched the ship. They found nothing. No weapons. No contraband. Just data storage units and sealed diplomatic pouches addressed to various council members. Thrask opened one of the pouches. Inside was a single photograph. 6 humans in diplomatic uniforms. The ones who had been executed. Beneath the image, handwritten in perfect galactic standard, were 6 names. 6 histories. 6 families. And at the bottom, one line. We will never forget. Thrask sealed the pouch. His hands were shaking. He did not know why. He let the messenger go. 3 days later, similar ships appeared at a dozen council border checkpoints. Same design. Same message. Same quiet, unarmed defiance. Some were boarded. Some were scanned. None were harmed. But every council officer who encountered them felt the same thing Thrask had felt. Something had shifted. The Galactic Council met in emergency session for the 3rd time in a month. The chamber was tense. Accusations flew. The Drathan representative insisted the humans were testing their resolve. The Karathi demanded military action. The Vietnamese urged caution. The Telasian Council head raised one ancient hand and silence fell. Enough, he said. We will send a delegation to Earth. We will remind them of their place. We will make it clear that their silence changes nothing. The Drathan bowed. And if they refuse to receive us? The Telasian's eyes were cold. Then we will make an example of another human world. The council delegation arrived at Earth orbit 2 weeks later. 5 ships. Diplomatic banners displayed prominently. A delegation of 12 council members, representing the most powerful species in the galaxy. They sent their arrival codes. Requested an audience with the United Earth Assembly. The response came within minutes. Request denied. The Drathan representative felt his scales flush with anger. Denied? On what grounds? The human transmission was brief. Professional. Emotionless. The United Earth Assembly does not recognize the authority of the Galactic Council. All previous diplomatic overtures have been rescinded. You are instructed to leave Earth space within the hour. Failure to comply will result in defensive action. Defensive action. The words hung in the silence of the Council ship's bridge. The Drathan turned to the fleet commander. They dare threaten us? The commander was staring at his sensor display. His face had gone pale. Sir, he said quietly. I'm reading 73 human warships in system. 16 more jumping in every 10 minutes. They've formed a defensive perimeter around Earth. And they're not hailing us. They're just waiting. The VRNN counselor, who had warned against this course of action, leaned forward. How many ships can they field? The commander swallowed. At current projections? Within 48 hours, they could have over 300 vessels in this system alone. 300. The council's largest fleet numbered 212 ships, and it took weeks to assemble. The Telasian stood slowly. Every eye turned to him. "Withdraw," he said. The Drathan's head snapped around. "Withdraw? We cannot show weakness." "We are not showing weakness," the Telasian replied, his voice like stone grinding on stone. "We are acknowledging reality. The humans have spent 6 weeks preparing for this moment. They knew we would come. They wanted us to come. And now we understand what they have been doing in silence." He turned to face the view screen, where Earth hung in the void, blue and green and utterly unafraid. "They have been building the strength to say no." The Council fleet withdrew. And across the galaxy the news spread like wildfire. Humanity had refused the Galactic Council. Refused them with overwhelming force, held in perfect, disciplined restraint. No shots fired. No threats issued. Just an unbreakable line drawn in the stars. In the weeks that followed, everything changed. Human trade routes expanded. Human colonies grew. Human ships moved freely through space that had once been restricted to Council members only. When challenged, they did not fight. They simply stood their ground. And behind every human vessel, visible on every scanner, was the silent promise of the fleet that had gathered at Earth. The Council tried sanctions. The sanctions failed. Too many species depended on human goods, human manufacturing, human innovation. They tried diplomatic isolation. But one by one, minor species began reaching out to humanity directly. Quietly. Carefully. Seeking the protection that the Council had never offered. 3 months after the execution of the human diplomats, Secretary General Amara Okonkwo finally broke humanity's silence. She appeared on every galactic network. No grand speech. No threats. Just a simple statement. "The Galactic Council executed 6 of our people to teach us our place. They succeeded. They taught us that our place is not at their feet. Our place is standing. Together. Unafraid. We did not come to the stars to kneel. We came to walk among equals. And we will not stop walking until we find them." The transmission ended. The galaxy held its breath. And humanity kept moving forward. The message from the VRNN arrived 6 months after Okonkwo's broadcast. It came through encrypted channels, routed through 17 relay stations, coded in a language so old that only 3 human linguists could translate it. When the decryption finished, it contained just 12 words. "We wish to speak. Not as Council. As VRYNN. Will you listen?" Okonkwo read the message 3 times before calling her advisors. The debate lasted 4 hours. The military wanted guarantees. The intelligence services wanted background checks. The diplomatic corps wanted protocols, procedures, contingencies. Okonkwo listened to all of it. Then she sent a single word in reply. Yes. The VRNN delegation arrived 2 weeks later. Not in a warship. Not in a council vessel. In a small, unarmed transport that looked like it had been patched together from salvaged parts. 3 VRNN stepped out onto the landing platform at Geneva Station. No guards. No weapons. No ceremony. The lead VRNN was elderly, his gray skin marked with the deep lines of age. He introduced himself as Scholar Ven, and his voice carried the weight of someone who had seen empires rise and fall. "Thank you for seeing us," he said simply. Okonkwo stood across from him in a simple conference room. No grand halls. No political theater. Just 2 leaders and a table between them. "Why are you here, Scholar Ven?" she asked. Ven's eyes, dark and knowing, met hers without hesitation. "Because my people are afraid," he said. "And we should be." The words hung in the air. Okonkwo did not speak. She waited. Ven continued. "The Galactic Council is 10,000 years old. For most of that time, it has maintained order through a simple principle. Overwhelming superiority. The Council species are ancient. We have technology your people are only beginning to understand. We have resources that dwarf yours. We have fleets that could glass a planet in hours." He paused. His hands folded on the table. "But you have something we lost long ago. Something we forgot we even needed." "And what is that?" Okonkwo asked. "Willingness." The word settled between them like a stone dropping into still water. Ven leaned forward. "The Council can destroy you. Make no mistake about that. We have the weapons. We have the numbers. But to do so would require something we have not done in millennia. It would require us to commit. Fully. Completely. To fight a war where the outcome is certain but the cost is real." He gestured to the window where Earth hung in the darkness beyond. "Your diplomats died. You did not cry out for vengeance. You did not threaten annihilation. You simply prepared to defend yourselves. And when we came to your doorstep, you stood ready. Not eager. Not afraid. Just ready. Okonkwo's expression did not change. You're saying the council won't attack because we're willing to make it hurt. I'm saying the council won't attack because we are no longer willing to hurt. Ven's voice was quiet now, almost sad. We have become comfortable. Soft. We maintain order because no one challenges us, and no one challenges us because they believe we are invincible. But invincibility is not strength. It is the absence of testing. He stood slowly, his old joints protesting. Humanity terrifies the council because you remind us of what we were before we became comfortable. You expand recklessly. You take risks we would never take. You lose people and keep moving forward. You fail and try again. You are struck down and you stand back up. Ven turned to face her fully. The council killed your diplomats to teach you fear. Instead, you taught us something we had forgotten. That power without will is nothing. That superiority without courage is hollow. That a species willing to bleed will always be more dangerous than one that has forgotten how. Okonkwo stood as well. What do you want from us, Scholar Ven? Nothing, he said. I came to offer something. Information. The council is fracturing. The Karathi want war with you. The Drathans want to negotiate from strength they no longer have. The Telasians want to restore order through tradition that no longer applies. And my people, the VRNN, we want to survive what comes next. He reached into his robes and withdrew a small data crystal. He placed it on the table. This contains the true structure of the council. The alliances, the weaknesses, the feuds that have simmered for thousands of years beneath the surface of unity. It contains the locations of our shipyards, our resource depots, our fleet positions. Okonkwo stared at the crystal but did not touch it. Why would you give us this? Because the galaxy is changing whether the council accepts it or not. And when the old order falls, I want my people to have allies who remember that we chose to stand with them before we were forced to. Ven stepped back. His two companions moved to flank him. You will not conquer the galaxy, Secretary General. You do not have the numbers or the reach. But you will change it. Already, 17 species have reached out to you in secret. Minor worlds. Fringe colonies. People who have lived under council rule for millennia and have forgotten what it means to have a choice. He bowed, a gesture of respect that clearly pained his old body. Give them that choice. Show them what it means to stand rather than kneel. And when the council finally understands what they have unleashed, perhaps some of us will have the courage to stand with you. The VRNN turned and walked toward the door. Okonkwo